Chapter 25. Rose was wakened by Martin's cry, and the great feathered bulk of the grey heron rolling over her. Something brushed by her. She felt slithering scales and kicked out at them. Martin was locked in the coils of some reptilian creature. What it was, he did not know. It felt like a snake, but it had more than one head and tail. Stabbing viciously with his short sword, he was rewarded by the sound of anguished hissing as the coils fell away from him. Nearby, Grum swung out with his ladle and caught something hard on the skull. It went limp. Palom hung on grimly to a third sinuous shape as Rose battered it with a supply pack. Martin felt another reptile at his back. Swinging sharply, he slashed crosswise and stabbed down twice. The creature was instantly slain. Rose was still hitting with the pack as she cried out in the darkness, "Fire, Grum! Make fire!" The mole fumbled for flint and tinder as Martin found Rose and Palom in the darkness. Afraid to use his sword in such close proximity to them, he dropped it and went headlong at the creature they had been trying to tackle. Butting, punching, and kicking like a mad beast, Martin rendered the thing senseless. There were no more opponents to fight. They stood still while sparks flew and Grum could be heard blowing on the tinder. Suddenly, there was a small flame. The mole fed it with dry grass and twigs. In the ensuing firelight, they viewed the attackers and the attacked. It was the two slow worms they had first seen on entering the marshes. They were both dead, slain by Martin, and lying stunned close by was an enormous grass snake and a young adder. Grum shuddered violently. "Serpents!" Palom scrambled over to the limp figure of the warden. "I think they've killed him." Rose was at his side instantly. "Let me take a look." As she inspected the big bird, Martin called Palom and Grum to help him. Between the three of them, they heaved the bodies of the four reptiles into the deep ooze of the marsh. "Over here! This bird is alive!" Rose was massaging the warden's long neck. His eyelids fluttered feebly as she rubbed skillfully. One of the heron's eyes opened momentarily. "I am the law," it managed to croak. The mousemaid put a paw to its beak. "Yes, I know. Be still now. Those snakes nearly strangled you. Grum, put some water onto heat and see if you can find some soft moss and herbs to make a poultice." As dawn broke over the little camp, Rose sat nursing her patient. The warden was a fierce bird, quick to recover, and hard to keep still. She had bound his neck with a warm, soothing poultice of moss and herbs, checking the rest of him to assure herself that the young adder had not struck him. "You'll be all right. The adder didn't bite you. Warden, please lie still. Your neck was badly squeezed. Try not to move it." The gray heron tried to rise, but fell back croaking hoarsely. "Snakes are lawbreakers. I will punish them. I am the law." Grum looked up from the soup he was making. "Don't ever be silent, bird. Close thy girt beak. Huh." As they were held up by the warden's injuries, breakfast was a leisurely affair. Palom roasted some vegetables, leek, pennycress, and shallots. Grum made excellent wild celery and herb soup, then experimented on some barley scones. The warden became so fierce when Palom tried to feed him soup that the hedgehog hid behind Grum. "I don't think he likes your soup." Grum shook his ladle at the heron. "Don't be natural. Creature not liking my soup. Him never grow big and strong like I." "I am warden of Marshwood Hill. Warden does not eat soup." "Oh, go and boil thy head, girt bird bag." Rose was surprised at the warden's powers of recovery. Barely halfway through the morning, he was up and walking as he conversed with Martin. The young mouse told him the story of what had taken place in the night. The big bird glared savagely at him. "I thank you. Martin is mouse warrior, but you must learn." "Learn what?" "Learn to kill all lawbreakers. 2 snakes not dead." "But I threw them in the swamp." Next time, kill first. Then they will never break the law again. The warden was inflexible when dealing with lawbreakers. By noon, they were back on the path again, traveling behind the warden. Rose was mentioning to Martin that the mists were beginning to clear, and sunlight was now plainly visible, filtering through, when Palom called, "Ahead! Look up!" There was the mountain, rising above the mists into the summer day. It towered in solitary splendor, the lower slopes clad in verdant pine, rising to shrub and wild lupin, which gave way to naked, dun-hued rock all the way to its majestic peak. Grum shielded his eyes with a digging claw, peering up. "Well, dig my tunnel. Us'n's got to climb yon great hill?" The warden halted, fixing them with his fierce eye. "You can see the mountain?" Rose nodded her head, awed at the sight. "We surely can. Have we got to climb over it?" The heron stood on one leg. "No, only halfway. Do you see the cave?" The four friends searched the rocky mass, straining their eyes. Martin looked at Rose and shrugged before turning to the warden. "We cannot see a cave, but if you say it is there, then we believe you. Halfway up, you said?" The warden nodded. "Yes, halfway up. It is a tunnel through the mountain. Now I must leave you. These are my marshes. I am the law here. I stay." With an awkward hop-skip, he took to the air, wings beating until he caught a thermal. Swooping over them, the bird called out, "You saved my life! I will not forget this. You are not lawbreakers. Maybe I will be able to help you someday. I go now. Goodbye!" As he swooped away, Rose cried aloud,
"Thank you for your help! Besides the cave, is there anything else we should look out for when we climb the mountain?"
Wheeling in a half-turn, the heron called a final message. "Ask Portrayed! The mountain is not mine! These are my marshes, and I alone am the law!" With that, the warden of Marshwood Hill was gone, soaring above his domain of treacherous ooze and reptilian subjects. In the late afternoon, they came out of the marshlands. Crossing a stretch of dry scrub country, the four travelers stopped at the fringe of pines in the mountainous foothills. It was green and shady where Martin decided they would camp. "We'll rest here until the morning before, attempting to climb the mountain. A good meal and a long sleep is what we need." Grum shook the food packs out, his homely face a picture of dismay as he took stock of their supplies. Hardly any victuals left." 2 wizened apples, a few pawfuls of wheat flour, 1 or 2 candied nuts, and 3 raspberry scones were all that remained of Polikin's good food. The moles shook their final canteen. "Lack a day! Only our full of mint cordial." Rose chuckled as she prodded her friend's tubby little stomach.
"Oh, dearie me, Crumb Trencher. Are you going to let us all starve and waste away to leaf shadows?"
Grum polished his ladle vigorously with dry grass. "You must snip, Miss Rosa. No mistake about that. Right! I'm taking charge here and now. Palom, search for vegetables. Sir Martin, and you, Miss Rosa, look for water and gather wood. I'll see what can be hunted up. Listen now, I want you all back here afore sunset. Be that clear?" Palom, Martin, and Rose giggled as they whispered among themselves. Grum waved the ladle at them. "I said, be that clear!" They turned to him with serious faces, trying hard not to laugh as they stood stiffly to attention saluting.
"To hear is to obey, Lord Grum."
"We will not come back empty-pawed, O mighty one. We are yours to command, for you are the law." They dashed off laughing, leaving Grum polishing his ladle. "I don't see nothing funny. Vittles be serious. Huh. Twilight found the four friends seated around a cozy little fire. Their foraging had proved extremely fruitful. Apples, early wild plums, and some green acorns, parsley, dandelion, wild oats, and a piece of honeycomb, which Palom had found floating in a small rivulet of ice-cold mountain water. There were also a few mushrooms and some watercress which had been growing by the rivulet. Grum borrowed Martin's sword and used the blade to peel and chop. The others took their ease, laying back under a small spreading pine to watch him. Mushrooms and cress goes with parsley and dandelion, the mole explained as he prepared supper. Chop up the green acorns, too. 'Twill make good soup, almost thick as stew. He paused to rap Rose's paw with the ladle as she tried to steal a wild plum. Girl, missy, I needs they to put with lasted flour and wild oaters and honey. Choppy apples very little. Pass I on flatstone. I needs it for my experiment. Martin looked at Rose as he passed Grum the flat, thin rock. Experiment? What does he mean? He means experiment. Grum is always experimenting with food. He's very good. His experiments can turn out tasty. The soup, when it came, was savory, and they blew on it as they sipped it from their scallop shells. Grum had patted his mixture of wild plum, flour, oats, honey, and apples into small round cakes that he cooked on the flat rock over the fire. The sweet smell wreathed round the camp as he turned off the first batch to cool in the grass. Taking one gingerly, he broke it, giving half to Rose. What think of that, missy? The mousemaid juggled it in her paws, blowing on it as she took several quick nibbles. Oh, Grum, it tastes wonderful! So sweet and sticky! The mole wrinkled his snout in a satisfied manner. I knew it would. I'll make a couple of batches, and we'll pack them for rations. I hope so I can remember my experiment when we reaches home to Noonvale. Grum gave them a cake apiece to eat after their soup. He was packing the rest of them away when a cracking of branches coupled with screams and wild laughter sounded close by. Before Martin could retrieve his sword from Grum, a dozen or more young squirrels bounded into the camp, screeching, scrabbling, and fighting. One of the creatures tripped and stumbled over Rose. He snapped at her and pushed her roughly as he struggled to rise. Martin was across to him in a twinkling. He dealt the squirrel a hefty blow and sent him sprawling again. Now the camp seemed to be full of wild-looking squirrels. They wore sashes of gaily colored barkcloth and had bird feathers fastened to their tails. Disregarding the four travelers, they fought and screeched all round them, ignoring the upset and discomfort they were causing. One creature grabbed hold of Grum, using him as a shield to escape from another, who was trying, apparently, to steal the feathers from his tail. Martin had stood enough. He did not want to kill any of them, as they had not directly attacked him or his friends, but he was determined that they should be taught a lesson. Seizing Grum's ladle, he dashed at the two who were whirling the mole about as one tried to catch the other. Whoop! Thunk! Martin dealt out 2 stunning blows, which sat the wild pair down flat on their tails. He brandished the ladle and roared. Stop this! Do you hear me? Stop it this instant! The squirrels halted, panting heavily and grinning at each other. Martin shook the ladle, his voice stern and loud. You hooligans! What do you mean by dashing in and wrecking our camp like this, huh? Have you no manners at all? You're like a mob of wild beasts. One squirrel grabbed a feather from the tail of another and hopped nimbly on to a low pine branch. Ha! It's not your land, it's ours. We're the Goth tribe. We do what we like. So there! He stuck his tongue out impudently at Martin. Palom was quick. Leaping up, he caught the branch and twanged it, catapulting the squirrel onto the ground. The other squirrels thought this was hilarious and started doing it to each other, one leaping on a low branch as the other twanged it off. Rose was furious. Placing her paws on her hips, she yelled at them. Do you want me to call the warden of Marshwood Hill? They stopped momentarily again. then started laughing as one of their number began imitating the gray heron's stick-like walk and doing a passable impression of the bird.
I am the law. I slay all lawbreakers. Warden can't touch us. He only rules the marshland. Never comes up here.
Rose drew herself up to her full height. Then I'll tell Boldred. All activity ceased. They looked around nervously. Then one of them pulled an impudent face.
Nah, you can't, 'cause she's not here. Look!
Jumping up and down, he chanted,
Boldred, Boldred, boulder-headed old Boldred!
Spreading his paws wide, he smirked cheekily.
See? She's not here.
With a series of wild whoops, the squirrels sprang off into the trees, leaving the camp at peace once more. Martin stood listening to them as they shrieked and shouted off into the gathering night. The Gaw tribe, eh? I don't like that crowd one little bit. We'd best post a sentry tonight. I'll take first watch. Grum, will you take second? You can use my sword. The mole brandished his trusty ladle fearlessly. This be all I need for they rascally beasters. Rose placed damp wood on the fire to burn slowly through the night. She sat with her back against a pine and settled to rest.
Martin, did you notice how they stopped when I mentioned Boldred? I know they joked and clowned a bit, but they're obviously scared of her. I wonder who Boldred is, and where we can find her.
Martin shouldered the small sword, his keen eyes questing around the night-cloaked woodland.
Your guess is as good as mine, Rose. I don't think we've seen the last of the Gaw tribe, though.
However, the night passed uneventfully for the four travelers, the wooded foothills remaining calm and peaceful. The following morning was presided over by a hot blue cloudless sky, promising even greater heat as the day progressed. They breakfasted sparingly on cold water and some of Grum's invention cakes before setting off to scale the mountain. 3 hours after dawn, they left the forest, entering a country of sloping shale scree carpeted with shrub, fern, and lupin. As they toiled upwards in the oppressive, breezeless warmth, Martin gritted his teeth. Jibes and insults were coming at them from all around, though they saw no squirrels.
I'll tell the warden on you. Bad-mannered hooligans, camp wreckers. Still no sign of Boldred. Please, Boldred, save us from the Gaw tribe.
Palom clapped a paw to his ear. Yosh! They're chucking pebbles at me. A small stone clacked off Martin's sword blade. He kept his eyes straight ahead, speaking in a voice strained by temper. Ignore them, the stupid vermin.
Ignore them, the stupid vermin.
A voice echoed back at him. The young mouse was about to pick up a pebble and hurl it back in the direction of the voice, when Rose halted. She muttered urgently to him out of the side of her mouth.
Look up ahead.
The way was blocked by about 50 Gaw tribe squirrels. One, larger than the rest and obviously some kind of chieftain, stood forward. He scuffed the ground with his paw and pouted like a naughty infant as he spoke. This is Gaw tribe land. You gotta pay to pass through. Martin eyed him levelly.
We have only some food for ourselves, nothing of any value. I am Martin the warrior. This is Rose, Palom, and Grum. Let us pass. We will be off your land by nightfall.
The squirrel leader did a mincing little dance, holding his paws together imploringly as he mocked. Let us pass, please! Let us pass! Martin noticed that more squirrels had come up behind them, cutting off any chance of retreat. The leader squirrel had more feathers in his tail brush than any of the others. He arched the bushy tail skillfully towards Martin. I am called Jacques, leader of the Gaw tribe. Give me your sword and I'll let you pass. The young mouse's eyes were cold as he answered. No beast takes this sword from me. Jacques puffed out his chest and made his tail stand straight. Then I will fight you for it.
Martin curled his lip derisively.
Oh, you'll fight, my friend. Backed up by all your bunch, I suppose.
Walk did not sneer or joke. He held up both paws to show he was not armed.
No, no. We two will fight together. Just me and you. None of my bunch will interfere. Give your sword to the mousemaid, and let's see how good you are without a weapon. Instantly, the squirrels formed a large ring. As Martin passed the sword to Rose, he had his back turned to Walk. "Look out, Martin!" Palom shouted. He thrust the sword into Rose's paws and whirled around to see Walk hurtling through the air at him, teeth bared and claws outspread.